What we are looking at is a building in downtown New York, and I want to direct your attention here, above this ramen shop, next to this Marriott hotel. The sign on the outside claims to be the American Changal Association, but on the inside, there's another sign. This is a Chinese police station operating in secret in the middle of Manhattan. But it's not just New York. These secret police stations are hidden all over the world. In total, they've been discovered in 53 countries, on 5 continents, with over 100 locations. I spent the last month trying to understand why these stations exist at all, and what I found was much darker than I expected. So much so that I actually debated whether I should make this video or not. But if you're watching it now, I guess it's too late. Let me show you what I found.
你好，提醒您，您的手机号2小时后将停止本地数据。如有疑问，请。
That's a real voicemail from my phone. I get them every single week. Now, I live in Australia, but obviously this voicemail message is in Mandarin. And for years, I just ignored them, didn't think much of them. But when I started looking into this story, what became apparent was, if you want to understand why China puts secret police stations all around the world, it all starts with a phone call exactly like this one. In 2016, one of these calls reached an 18-year-old named Xu Yuyu. She'd just gotten into university. They told her her student grant was ready. She just had to pay a fee to release it, 9,900 yuan, or about 1,500 USD, her family's entire savings. She sent it. When she realized she had been scammed, she went to the police, but there was nothing they could do. Walking home, she collapsed and had a heart attack. She died 2 days later. Sadly, in China, scams like that represent 40% of all reported crime. Her story tore across the country and people lost it. Beijing decided enough was enough. The crackdown started in one little county, Anxi, known by the Chinese as Scam Town. This was ground zero. So China moves in to shut it down and hits one problem. The scammers were already gone, packed up and left the country, overseas, out of reach of Chinese police. So Beijing got creative. If they couldn't get to you, they'd get to whoever you left behind, like your family. They freeze every government payment to your relatives. They stop your children from attending school. And if they decide your house was built with scam money, they'll tear it down.
Going after family members back home. So either take away their benefits, persuade their relatives abroad that it's in their interest to return home, detain them, arrest them, even disappear or prosecute them.
That's Laura Half from the human rights group Safeguard Defenders, the group that broke this story in multiple reports. Remember the name. Later in this story, China comes after her too. All these punishments before anyone is found guilty of anything. And they've even got a tidy little name for it. When the pressure finally breaks you and you fly back, the government calls it being persuaded to return. And it worked. God did it work. Once it was rolled out nationwide, in just 15 months, 230,000 people came home. That's 500 people a day, every day. But the pressure on your family back home, that's only half the punishment. Someone has to find you first, confirm which country you fled to, and make contact with you. All this needs people on the ground, doing illegal police work on foreign soil, based in a network of secret police stations. Look at this map. This is every country who has one of these police stations, and these are just the ones we know of. There could be many, many more. But here's the strange part. China never hid these from its own people. They announced them on state TV. They claimed these aren't police stations, they're help desks.
I would say that the demand for such services are very legitimate and very normal. For example, what about a divorce or asset disposal?
Maybe he's right, some of that probably does happen, but there's already a building for helping citizens abroad. It's called an embassy. not a storefront with no sign. China published the addresses. 30 of them were sitting on a government website. Then the story broke via Safeguard Defenders and the page vanished. But the Wayback Machine had already taken a snapshot. So I pulled up Street View and went to every single one. A shuttered storefront, an apartment block, a unit above a restaurant. There were no signs, no hours, and no way in. These stations didn't want to be found, which makes no sense, unless helping was never the point. At the start of this video, I told you what I found was darker than I expected, and this is the part I mean. Up until this point, everything we've discussed has been around suspected scammers. But let me be honest with you. The scammers were never the point, because once you build a global machine that can watch anyone, find anyone, and squeeze their family until they surrender, that's a lot of power for one government to have. They can point it at anyone they want.
Transnational repression is when foreign governments reach outside their borders to silence, intimidate, or even harm people that are either dissidents or members of ethnic and religious minority communities.
Transnational repression. It means you left China, but China never let go. If Beijing decides you're a problem, the machine will come after you anyway. Remember this building? The American Changle Association? It's where we started. And it's here where the whole operation came apart. After Safeguard Defenders listed the New York station in their report, the FBI obtained a warrant. In October 2002, agents searched the premises. Inside, they found this banner: a branch office of the Chinese police with no permission to exist on American soil. FBI agents seized the operators' phones. 2 men ran this station. This guy, Lu Jianwang, known as Harry, a US citizen, and his partner, seen here. When Harry Lu found out the FBI was investigating, he panicked. He deleted everything, all his WeChat messages with his handler, an official in China's Ministry of Public Security, wiped. But the FBI recovered them, and I got a hold of the official court documents. What was in those messages goes way beyond renewing driver's licenses. One of them is about a person who fled China for the US in 2018. Harry's handler back in China tells Harry this person was banned from ever leaving China, and then asks him to see if there's any way to deport this victim back to China. This station was being used to find and squeeze Chinese citizens living in America. In addition to the first victim we mentioned, there was another man targeted, Xu Jie. Back in 1989, he was one of the protesters in Tiananmen Square, which put him on a Chinese watch list. He eventually got out of China and fled to America, ending up in California. He never scammed anyone. He runs a YouTube channel exactly like this one, talking about China. When the story about the secret New York station broke, Xu drove across the country, stood outside that same building, and began live streaming, daring China to do something about it.
Freedom! 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 Freedom!
They did. 176 calls in a single day. Death threats. His car was smashed twice. His home and his office broken into 5 times. In a free country, he is not safe. Last month, May 2026, a Brooklyn jury convicted Harry Lu.
Harry Lu was found guilty of 2 counts of acting as an illegal agent for China and destroying evidence while he was being investigated.
These defendants did China's bidding in secret. Now just imagine the NYPD opening an undeclared secret police station in Beijing. It would be unthinkable.
He faces up to 30 years in prison. Harry's conviction closed one station. And after the Safeguard Defenders report broke, some countries opened their own investigations and began shutting some of the other stations down. But many more remain open. Remember Laura Harth, the woman who broke this story? A swarm of fake accounts later traced back to operators linked to the Chinese law enforcement flooded the internet with pornographic images of her. Deep fakes, AI generated. China was trying to destroy her reputation. But then I found a case where it got physical. This is Drew Pavlou. He's an Australian political activist. In July 2022, he's standing outside the Chinese embassy in London, protesting loudly. And the Metropolitan Police arrested him.
I was annoying them a lot with my protest. I argue that's my right as an Australian citizen, and I knew that would make me a target, but I didn't realise that they were going to try a bomb threat. And I didn't realise that they were going to have me arrested as a terror suspect. The police said, we received an email in your name, and I just stood there stunned like a stunned mullet.
He was held for 23 hours. He was facing 12 years in prison. But eventually, the police realized he wasn't the one who sent it. Afterwards, over a 6-month period, Drew received over 40 emails threatening to kill him. He has traced this back to a mercenary working for the Chinese Communist Party. 60 Minutes Australia broke the story.
To get an email that talks about kidnapping you, Drew, and cutting you up into little bits for a $50,000 reward, what's that like?
To be honest, it did really knock me out for, a good chunk of the year. Like, it's tough to admit that in a way they kind of won that round.
But that wasn't it. In true Anxie style, they even went after Drew's mother, who has nothing to do with his protesting. They put a $50,000 bounty on her head and sent emails to her employer saying she was running an illegal prostitution service and she was a drug addict.
I always am looking over my shoulder. If I'm walking to my car, if I'm always aware. I'm a lot more aware, but I just try and live a normal life because otherwise they win, don't they?
So if you are a dissident or an activist or a protester in Australia, are you safe or are you unsafe?
They will be very much looked at. Don't violate the Chinese sovereignty and territorial integrity. Otherwise, there will be no free haven anywhere in the world. Because if you do that, then sooner or later, justice may be served.
Laura Half, Drew, and his mother, they all point to something that I had no idea about when I first started making this video. And to me, it's the most frightening part of the entire story. China's machine has no boundaries. They've got eyes everywhere. And they don't ask for permission. They use it to intimidate and harass their own citizens, but it doesn't stop there. That same machine could come for you or me the moment we say something they don't want to hear.